Welcome to Grand Prix, your go-to channel for the fastest updates in Formula One. We've got 3 hot stories for you, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay ahead of the pack. Let's get started. Hey friends, welcome back to another fast and to-the-point video here on Grand Prix, where today we're diving into Red Bull's unexpected struggles in Bahrain, and more specifically, Max Verstappen's concerning performance so far this weekend. But before we jump into the analysis, make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss any updates from the world of Formula One. And of course, if you enjoy clear and informative content like this, hit that like button. It really helps support the channel. Let's get into it. Max Verstappen has not been having the kind of weekend we're used to seeing from him. During Saturday's qualifying session, the reigning world champion could only manage P7, far from his usual position at the front. It was clear from the start that something was off. He looked on edge, the car wasn't responding, and the RB21 just didn't seem competitive. Even Yuki Tsunoda, who managed to squeeze into Q3, only placed 10th, and both were beaten by Pierre Gasly's Alpine, who surprisingly secured P5. Naturally, this triggered concern within Red Bull's garage. After the session, Verstappen spoke candidly about what went wrong. His words left no room for interpretation. The car is just too slow. He elaborated, saying the RB21 felt unbalanced, unresponsive, and unpredictable. According to him, he struggled with braking, turn-in, cornering, and traction, all major factors in performance. These issues weren't new either. Verstappen said he'd been feeling this inconsistency since free practice 1 and that the team had tried everything to fix it, tearing the car apart and applying various setup changes, all to no avail. When asked about Sunday's race, Verstappen didn't sound optimistic. He noted that the car's race pace and overall balance were just as poor as its qualifying performance. In his words, the brakes simply don't work. Even when he steps hard on the pedal, the car just doesn't stop in time. He described the experience as unpredictable, with the car behaving differently from lap to lap, making it almost impossible to find a rhythm or push with confidence. What's even more alarming is that Max admitted these problems weren't isolated to Bahrain. He said the inconsistencies and handling issues have been present since the start of the season, and even lingered from the latter part of last year. That's a major red flag, especially for a team that dominated so much in 2023. To top it off, Verstappen ended the interview saying he didn't even want to think about the race at that moment. He was clearly frustrated and said he needed to disconnect, rest, and try to forget how bad the last few days have been in the car before shifting focus back to the challenge on race day. So here we are, Red Bull enters race day in Bahrain without momentum, with a driver who's lost confidence in the machine beneath him, and with a car that's been described as unstable, underperforming, and downright frustrating to drive. But what do you think? Do you believe Max Verstappen can bounce back from this and somehow fight for a podium, or maybe even an unlikely win? Or is Sunday going to be a long, difficult race for the defending champion? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for daily updates, real insights, and everything you need to follow this exciting F1 season. It's no secret that the FIA has been navigating turbulent waters behind the scenes. Over the past few months, the organization has faced mounting criticism, internal instability, and public dissatisfaction, not just from fans, but also from drivers, teams, and now, from within its own leadership. This week, the situation escalated dramatically. Early Thursday morning, news broke that Robert Reid, the FIA's vice president for sport, had resigned from his position. But this wasn't just a quiet departure. In a strongly worded statement, Reid openly criticized FIA President Mohammed bin Sulayem, accusing the current administration of deviating from the organization's core values and transforming its structure into what he described as a power-driven system, lacking transparency and accountability. According to Reid, when he accepted the role, his mission was to serve the members of the FIA, not to serve power. However, as time went on, he claims he witnessed the FIA crumble from the inside, abandoning the very principles it once stood for. He expressed concern that key decisions were being made behind closed doors, without proper consultation, transparency, or adherence to the procedures and structures that were carefully built to guide the sport fairly. "I can no longer be a part of this," Reid declared. There is too much wrong happening behind the scenes. Integrity, responsibility, and respect have vanished from the FIA. His words echoed the sentiments of many within the sport who feel the FIA, under Ben Sulayem's leadership, has become increasingly authoritarian, involving itself in areas that do not require intervention and implementing decisions without the consensus of those most affected. This is far from the first time concerns have been raised. Several drivers and team principals have quietly, and sometimes publicly, expressed frustration over how recent issues have been handled. The impression many now have is that the FIA is acting more like a dictatorship, bypassing stakeholder input and undermining the collaborative spirit that motorsport governance demands. To make matters worse, David Richards, the chairman of Motorsport UK and a highly respected figure in global motorsport, has also spoken out. He warned that the FIA's centralized control could threaten the future of FIA-supported races in the UK, especially if the current trajectory continues. Richards urged the organization to rethink its role, restore balance, and re-establish a system where trust, dialogue, and cooperation lead the way, not unilateral authority. These developments come at a time when Formula One is experiencing incredible global popularity. The stakes have never been higher, and yet, the internal fractures within the FIA are becoming harder to ignore. The concern is that if these governance issues persist, they could start affecting the sport's on-track product and the trust of fans worldwide. It's clear that something needs to change. Fast. But now we want to hear from you. Do you believe the FIA is heading down the wrong path? Has it become too authoritarian under current leadership? Or do you think this is just part of the natural growing pains of modernizing the sport? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Grand Prix, and turn on notifications to stay updated with all the latest, not just on the track, but in the rooms where the biggest decisions are being made. The Bahrain Grand Prix left no shortage of headlines, but the spotlight once again fell on Red Bull, this time not for dominance, but for internal tension and visible frustration from none other than Max Verstappen's camp. Before diving into the behind-the-scenes drama that unfolded after the race, and why this could affect Verstappen's future with the team, make sure you're subscribed to Grand Prix so you never miss an update from the world of Formula One. And if you enjoy content like this, don't forget to leave a like to support our work. Let's start with the on-track issues. From the first free practice sessions, Max Verstappen made it clear he was unhappy with the car. According to him, the RBXX simply wasn't working. It was slow, unresponsive, lacked grip, braking efficiency, and couldn't hold a line properly through corners. That became evident during qualifying, where multiple mistakes and a lack of pace left Verstappen out of position. Things didn't improve much on race day. Red Bull's strategy and pit stops, usually razor-sharp, fell apart. Technical mishaps and slow pit stops cost Verstappen even more time, and he ended the race in 6th place, unable to fight at the front. This result dropped him to 3rd in the driver's standings, and while the season is long, the warning lights are flashing. After the checkered flag, what happened off the track may have been even more significant. British newspaper The Mirror reported that Verstappen's manager, Raymond Vermeulen, was seen in a heated exchange with Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko. Sources claim Vermeulen didn't hold back, voicing deep concerns about the team's recent direction and Max's dissatisfaction with the car's development. The conversation allegedly ended with Vermeulen walking away abruptly, a gesture that spoke volumes about the growing tension. Shortly after, an emergency meeting was held within the Red Bull camp, including team principal Christian Horner, chief technical officer Pierre Watch, lead engineer Paul Monahan, and Helmut Marko. Although the official reason for the meeting wasn't disclosed, such a high-level gathering post-race is rare and suggests serious issues are at play. It's widely believed the Vermeulen-Marko dispute was at the center of that discussion. And it's no secret that the situation inside Red Bull has been fragile for some time. Rumors of internal disagreements, dissatisfaction with leadership, and a car that's falling short of championship expectations have created an uneasy atmosphere, one that could eventually lead to Verstappen looking elsewhere. More meetings are expected this week as Red Bull tries to regain control of the situation. Their main objective now is to stabilize the relationship with Verstappen and resolve technical shortcomings before things spiral any further. So what do you think? Are we witnessing a temporary crisis that Red Bull will overcome? Or is this the beginning of a downward spiral for the reigning champions? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Grand Prix for more in-depth breakdowns, updates, and exclusive content from the world of Formula One.